What are the top 5 most forbidden bending techniques? We've all wanted to be able to element bend at some point in our life, but have you ever wondered about the darker side of bending? Today we'll be going through the top 5 most lethal sub-bending techniques and ranking them all in the end bloodbending. We should all be familiar with this bending technique by now because it got a lot of screen time. It was even deemed illegal, but we never really saw its full potential. Essentially what bloodbending does is give the user a control over blood. That does include the blood in another human being. So far we've only seen this technique being used to turn the user into a puppet master of some sort and also to block someone's chi path, but I think they've heavily censored this potential. This technique could be used to cause instant death by imploding an internal organ. Trying to pull the blood outside of the body with enough force could cause this effect. We have also seen this in Gen V with a blood mutant, and trust me, the show spared no detail. Faking a heart attack is another way this technique could be used. By controlling the flow of blood, you could instantly kill a person, making it look like an accident or something of natural occurrence. But blood constructs are definitely the upper level of this technique, which is pretty much using any blood to make weapons of your choice, very similar to how waterbenders use ice bend. A prime example of this technique would be Power from Chainsaw Man, or the blood manipulation curse technique in Jujutsu Kaisen used by Choso, spontaneous combustion. Now, this is a natural occurrence when a substance with a low ignition temperature releases enough heat that it causes a fire. Now this is just a theory of mine, but firebenders should be able to control their own body heat, and that would explain how Zuko was able to withstand the freezing cold waters when he was trying to capture Aang at the North Pole. So, if firebenders have the ability to control body heat, it would be a small feat for them to make another person combust, similar to how infernals are in Fire Force, especially since firebending is the only element that can be generated by the user. But all this would really be dependent on the user on their skill level. I'd really love to get into the full capabilities of firebending, but I'm saving that for the next video. Suffocation. This technique is one you probably wouldn't expect from the air nomads, but thinking about it, it was founded by Yanchen, so it makes sense. This basically removes all the air within a person's lungs, forming a ball around their head, preventing them from taking a fresh breath of air, killing the victim slowly. Zahir used this technique to take the life of the Earth Queen and tried to use it to end the Avatar cycle. This technique is a lot more common than you might think, and it can even be used by non-benders. All you have to do is subscribe and it takes my breath away. Take my breath! We definitely have lethal techniques such as lava bending, but there doesn't seem to be any restrictions against lava bending because we see Bowling use it numerous times. So impalement is an earthbending move I think would be banned. Spawning a giant spike from the ground to stab an individual is something I definitely see happening, especially if the bender has a grasp on seismic sense like Toph does. We've seen Toph use a similar technique, but instead of sharp rocks, it's blunt. Now this is my theory, but life force manipulation is one technique I think would be possible once a person can energy bend. Since energy bending is all about bending a person's life energy, technically it would be possible to manually age up or age down a person if you could energy bend. Or better yet, you'd be able to instantly kill them by taking their life energy and adding it to your own, potentially making the user immortal. This would obviously be a very rare technique since the only users of this technique so far are the Lion Turtles, Avatar Aang, and Avatar Korra. But this is definitely the upper limits of what I think could be possible with energy bending. It would work similar to how Shigaraki from My Hero Academia uses his power. Even though his power is decay, it would essentially work the same way. Given that energy bending on a whole takes a lot of time to initiate, this bending art would probably be risky to use mid-battle. But to wrap this all up with the information given above, I think the order in which these techniques should be ranked is pretty obvious. Life force manipulation in 5th place, suffocation in 4th place, impalement in 3rd place, spontaneous combustion in 2nd place, and bloodbending in 1st place. Ranking these techniques on lethalness, versatility, usefulness, and just overall creativity, I think this ranking is pretty solid.